long this works. Hopefully the live will actually work. For some reason, this little building right here, where it's at, seems to be like a dead zone. It comes and goes. Everything I try to record in this building seems to just die off. But it's warming up in here now. Part of the reason I'm in this little teeny building working on the chainsaws is the other one doesn't have heat and the lighting's horrible. And you guys know how videos are. If you have videos that have poor lighting, they don't look good. So it messes with the pixels and it doesn't come across clear like 4K or 2K or whatever. So I am videoing this at the same time. So if you missed it, then you can just go watch the video afterwards. So hopefully it's actually working. I don't know. And I got you a little fur away. I got you fur away. But anyways, this morning, you guys know I bought these little FarmMacs. They're just for little specific projects. Not doing commercial work, okay? These are just to have. These are a little bit bigger saws than I normally use all the time. So I have run 6 tanks of gas through them already and cut up quite a bit of wood, and I've used both of them. So this one over here is the F380W clone, okay, from FarmMac. So that's the first one I'm going to mess with. Then I'm going to do some bar swapping around a little bit too. Then I have this one right here, which I will admit is quite heavy for me. This is the FarmMac F660 VW. I don't know what the VW stands for. It seems like I've seen other people with them. And theirs doesn't have the VW. I don't know if that's just like the series, you know, 1st gen, 2nd gen, 3rd gen. You guys know what I'm talking about. So if you do join, let me know if this video is coming out okay. Because like I said, this building's not the best. It ain't the best in the world. So now you know what I'm working with. I can't decide which pair of glasses I want to put on. But I want to go over just a couple things in case you're new to the channel. You kind of understand what's going on here. I bought these two for special projects. I'm going to go ahead and turn this one on now. But 6 tanks of gas through them. I've cut up quite a bit. I got to get this camera going. It seems to be it's lost its one-click startup for video. So on this saw right here, we'll start off with the bar. Now both of these saws do have the full wrap on them, and I'll be honest with you, and it may just be me because I'm getting older, but these two saws are heavy. I have run the 500i, which is closer to the FarmMac 660 as far as CCs goes. These saws are heavy now. They're not, you know, if you want a lighter saw and a better quality than these, then go with the Stihl. But these are like part-time use for me. I'll probably use this one more than anything. So the other day, I was watching another friend of ours video, and they had, get out my tools here, this little unit right here is a ratchet type scrunch, and it has both, you know, your larger size and your smaller size for the Huskies, then your screwdriver on the end. And I'll put a link for this, because this thing is, when you're trying to get something done, you're in the woods or whatever, this little thing is darn handy. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this cover off here for the chain. Usually what I do is loosen it up. You got to watch those dogs, boy. You get your finger on that and you'll know it. I need to move my stuff back here. I say I'm not in my normal building, but the other one doesn't have good heat, and this right here too. The adjustment for the loosen and tighten the bar is here on this side, which is kind of like, a lot of people would say that's kind of old school. That's how a lot of the older chainsaws were. Since these are a clone, then they have the old style adjustment on them. So that was not quite loose enough. We're going to unloosen it. But it gets a little confusing between the two saws, and I'll explain why here in a second. So your tensioner is on the end here. On the now, if they make a clone, which they haven't yet that I know of, maybe they have. The 381 has the new filler caps and the adjustments here, like the newer style. So pull this off. Like I say, it's a mess. It needs to be cleaned up. I am running the oil on the bars. They're a little heavy. I was cutting through some pig nut hickory and all the really hard wood, so I wanted plenty of oil on the bar. Let's see if I can get it to loosen up now. Yeah, I'm gonna get this head unit. There we go. All right, get that off of there. Now this right here, I just left that on there because it holds the chain on there a little better. This is the 28-inch bar here. So I don't know if I want to put that there. It's probably a little close to the heat. So I'm actually going to put that 28-inch bar on the 660 and I'll explain why in a minute. So on the F380, the oil adjustment is right here on the bottom. Okay, so that's pretty standard in most saws. If it has an oil adjustment, they're usually right here. But that one, and I noticed on some, like if you go to the Husqvarna or the FarmTech or the Neotech version of this, the adjustment for the oil, even on the 660, is on the bottom, which I thought these were clones, because for that year, the actual oil adjustment is at the end where the adjustment for the bar is on this one, is the adjustment for the oil on that one. So that could get you really confused, because I was using this one over here the other day, and it wasn't oiling, and I was like, it was oiling, then that pecan started heating the bar up, and it was smoking. It was like, what on earth's going on? I had stopped to tighten the chain up, and I probably adjusted the oiler at first thinking I was trying to tighten the bar up, and then I realized, oh, it's the new style where it's in the side of the case. So I probably messed the adjustment up on it, and then I realized what I did, and then I went back and adjusted the oiler back up. So, you know, when they change stuff between saw and saw, you got to get familiar with the saw you're working with. I will honestly say I really like these. The FarmMac has these, and the FarmerTech, I think, doesn't, but I think the Neotech has the tank guard right here and all that, which is nice. You set it down real quick or whatever. Protects the gas tank. I like that. So I'm just going to maintain this a little bit. I got to get my rags down here. Let me grab them. My problem is I have too many from building to building, and I kind of have a little bit of this for this, doing this there. I have the same thing a little bit for doing that there, and next thing you know, I got stuff everywhere and I don't know where it's at. So this year's goal is going to be to have the other little building with the chainsaws. I'm going to clean it out, and it's going to be basically become a mechanical kind of building. I have shelves in there, like all kinds of electrical stuff for doing electric stuff, for doing plumbing, painting stuff, like all on the shelves in there. I've got a heavy duty bench in there, which is great, but it's full of stuff. It's got some of the Kubota skid steer cover plate, which is down at another job that I never put back on because we had hydraulic lifts built in it. So anyways, I get off topic here. Just going to clean these up. It's just routine maintenance. my little vacuum cleaner, which sometimes I use, is in the truck actually, because I was at my booth cleaning up. So we'll just let it fall on the floor for right now. It's not that hard to clean up. I try to do this if I'm out cutting a tree or a log and I'm in a hurry. I don't clean this out. I'll do it like I'm doing right now. I'll stop and clean them out. So I want to kind of go over this a little bit. Let me get it cleaned off so we can actually see something about what's going on. I got to remember I'm also filming, and it's hard to do both. I got you both in two different directions, so we'll just wipe this down. But I wanted to go through something because the dogs that are on this are not the original dogs it came with. So if you see this and you go buy one, you'd be like, hey Chris, the dogs in this thing are tiny. Where'd you get those from? I got them off Amazon. You know, there's several different styles on there that you can get. This is the stainless steel. I prefer the orange, to be honest with you. But this case, you know, it's like a kind of a cheap metal, you know. It's definitely not going to be as high dollar as or as nice as the Stihls, but it seems to work. I haven't broke it yet, and I've dropped it off a log or two. So here's been the issue. I'll show the two of you at the same time. There's those little guides in there, right here. When I went to put it on there, let's try to put the camera over here. This is tough to do both at the same time. When I put the bolts through here on this one, right here, I ended up having to come in. This one wasn't too bad. I had to take file a little bit off because the bolt sticks through it a little bit. So you might have that problem. And then this one, I had to take off completely and grind the head of the bolt down in order to push this back on flat. So they were just, if I had cut the bolt before I put the nut on, well, I guess I could have put the nut on past where I wanted it, and then I could have taken it to the grinder or something and done it. I just did it on here. I didn't hurt it any. So you might run into that if you get these dogs or something off of Amazon, the bolt. You might just pop right off, and you might have to grind the end of that down so that locks back in there, because you don't want that coming loose. It'll hit the chain and make a mess, and it can cause the chain to divert, and you end up tearing up your case or something like that. So I'm not going to do a ton of cleaning on this. Some people had asked, there was a couple questions about the chain and bar, the size on them, because Stihl, unless you go up to the ones that are a little bit above this, like the 880 and stuff, the bars on these Stihls, which you can put on these, are all 0.05, and they don't make a 0.063, at least according to my dealer, and I haven't been able to look any up. So if you know any different, let me know. But the 0.05 bar and chain will fit on this sprocket because it's thinner than the 0.063. So you can run it on there. I don't see that little bit of difference fitting on the sprocket side to side because it's going to be pulling front to back. I don't see that being an issue. I see people who have these that have Stihl bars and chains on them, and they haven't said there was a problem or an issue with it. So that's the only thing, because our dealer has a really nice light 32 Stihl bar that I want to get for these. And the 32, it'd be a little big for this, but it'd run it fine, depending on as long as you're not really hardwood and you're trying to use the full length of the bar, a 32. So you could run a 32 on the F380, which is just the Stihl clone. You know, keep you from bending over as far. But I want to try the 32 and the 28, which is the 28 came on this on that 660 right there. So that's what I want to try, because I like having more horsepower. Who doesn't like having more horsepower than you need? Because you never know, especially us here, on the East Coast, we have hardwoods, a lot of hardwoods, and you need a little power to get through them, and you want to keep your RPMs up. For one, if it's cutting more efficiently and stuff, you're not wearing the bar out. And if you're cutting a large tree, which you've probably seen me do, or anybody do, you're kind of trying to look up as you're cutting that last little bit. And the last thing you need is a soft burr, 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 burr. You know, it's digging in and it's grabbing, and you can't cut smoothly. You don't have enough power, and you're trying to look up. If that tree starts to fall, and you don't have enough power to continue that cut, then you can end up with a situation where the tree barbers or something like that. So a lot of times with me, when I get a large tree, especially if it's leaning a little bit, which is leaning is helping, I will go in and do a plunge cut back up to the back of the tree, and then I'll finish the cut from the back. That way I know I'm just cutting a little bit. And if you saw that little Supmix video I did the other day, that tree was leaning directly towards another tree, but I needed it to go over here down next to another tree. So even with that little teeny saw, I was able to maneuver that tree. It's just the technique of cutting. It has nothing to do with the saw. It's just being able to dissect a tree in a situation and then perform the proper cut for it. So that's what I was doing with that. And it worked out fine. If you watch the tree, I should have done a slow motion. I let it start, when I was cutting back here, it started getting a little bit of motion forward. So it was rocking forward on that hinge. And then it needed to go to the right. So what I did was, I did my plunge cut, and I cut back, and I cut a little bit more on this side. And then what allowed for me to have a small hinge over here, I was able just to take that and manipulate that cut, and that tree just went right around and right down. So that's kind of how you do that. So anyways, these saws, so far have been pretty decent. I'm going to cut this camera off because it's just hard to keep track of two of them. I'll just turn it on when I need key moments. So we're going to clean this off here. Like I said, this is the first time I've done any real maintenance on it. I just wanted to get the break-in done on it and go from there. Mess cleaned up. So what I'm going to do is take the air filter off this. I got two different pair of glasses. I'm going to get my other glasses. So this right here has a 7. It's got 7. It's a 3/8 by 7 sprocket that came on it. The 660 came with a .3257, and what's on it now is the .063, and it did come with the 3/8 404 sprocket on that. So that saw right there has a lot of options as far as what you run on it, as far as the bar goes. So one of the first things I did, and I got it ordered for that one, is I got a new filter for them because I watched other people and they said these filters were horrible on these units. So the first thing I did was go online and order. This is the one that came on it, and I got a real one, a Stihl OEM filter for it. So this one can go straight in the trash. I won't run it. And I did the same thing. I've got a filter coming. It should come in today for that 660. So that was very important. I ran about a tank of gas through it. When I took this off, I'll take it off real quick, and I'll show you. I'll show you the inside of that one and the inside of this one, just in case you're curious about why you should change it. Okay, it's a good reason for it. Probably pull out on that a little bit as I undo it. Let me have it. There's a little teeny tab right here that you got to get the little flap. See that flap inside there? It seals it when it's not running. See? So that kind of tucks down in there. Now, let me move this one over here so that I'm actually talking to both of you at the same time when I'm filming here. That way I don't lose the film of the stuff. I don't have to do it twice. There we go. So I'll bring it up close to you, but if you look inside of this one, you see how dirty it is up inside of there. See, that means stuff was getting past it. Then you look at this one right here, and it's nice and clean inside. Nothing got past it. So, and I just stuck that one on there. I only did a little cutting with it, so it's not really up there. But the one thing I didn't do, which I should have done, was I should have looked inside of here to see all the amount of stuff that got past the other filter. It's a mess. So I'm going to stick my thumb over it. Actually, I'm going to do something better. I'm going to stick my thumb over it, then I'm going to blow it out with the air compressor here. Since I got it hooked up. All right. That you want to make sure there's a tank vent in here. You want to make sure you make sure you want to blow the tank vent out when you're blowing out this chamber here. Make sure you blow around your tank vent as well, because that'll get covered. Then you'll have problems with it feeding fuel and stuff to it. So just remember to do that. So first thing you want to do is throw that old air filter away and get you a nice Stihl air filter for it. It's well worth it. And this goes on. If you hold your trigger back, it allows you to put that back on there a little easier. What I find. It'd be nice if they didn't make it so you needed a half-inch wide screwdriver to tighten these up with. Your scrunch can only get on like one side of it. I don't know who came up with that concept. But anyways, you just generally, you ain't tightening, you ain't torquing down. So that's kind of how this one works. Put this down one click so you can get this in there. Oh, I know what I wanted to look at. I wanted to look at, see what kind of spark plug they put in this thing. If it's any good or not. Because I may go down and get some new spark plugs. I got to run out today. So this won't fit. The wrench won't fit on there. Take the plug out. So I'll put a link to that ratchet wrench in the video. So it's a Torch L7T, basically a cheap old piece of junk. So I'm gonna go get new plugs for both of these saws. Look at that gap. There's like, I know that gap is not right. No wonder the thing, it's been hard to tune. I can tell by looking at that is like almost touching. So we got to fix that. I've worked on enough motors and stuff to kind of have a good feel for it. But we'll do it for right now. I'll just open it up a little teeny bit. Yeah, that thing was, good God. That thing was practically touching. That's the way it came. So I'm going to get a new plug for it. So we'll go with NTBs or something like that. We'll go with something that's a quality, can handle the heat, stuff like that. I don't know what's going on. Check this out. Y'all gotta check this out. It's not live, but look at the screen. It's like losing it. It's like it's alive. and it's not live. I don't know what's going on. It's a GoPro thing, I think. I think it's a GoPro thing. Let me just cut that thing off. It is, holy cow. What is going on with this thing? You never know. You rely on a GoPro. It's a good thing I'm doing it live, because I would have lost footage. I have no clue what's going on with that thing. So, definitely upgrade your spark plug. That's for sure. First thing, air filter, new spark plug. It just clicks on there one turn. So I've got most of it cleaned off. Let me grab this air again real quick and blow that off. So I said 6 tanks in. I am to the 50-to-1 ratio. Well, I got to turn the tank back on. But I don't want to turn the compressor on because then y'all won't be able to hear nothing and it'll be obnoxious. So I'll finish that later. So let's fire it up. Let's just go ahead and fire it up and see how it sounds. It doesn't smoke me out of here. So choke all the way on. This one does not have a compression brake. So that's the one thing about it. And it doesn't always click when you hit the trigger. You know, a lot of times that's supposed to come up. Another cheap part, you know. But it can be replaced with a Stihl, you know. Come on. Or, smoke's gonna make me cough. I'm gonna grab my water. I say I'm trying to do stuff in this little building, trying to keep the heat going. And part of it is I've been having a cold. Like I think everybody I talk to has been sick. I can already tell that's opening up more than it was before. And I goofed up. I had made a mix for these saws, the higher mix for the break-in. And I had a little left in the jug. I grabbed the wrong jug. So this has a higher mix in it. So once this tank runs out, I'll put the 50-to-1 in and it won't smoke as much. So, but that's the power head for this one. Like I said, I've cut 20-inch, 23-inch trees with it so far, and I've been happy. I'm not putting the bar back on it on this one because I'm going to take the 28-inch bar and put it on the 660, and that should be plenty of power for a 28-inch bar for sure. I'm going to actually get a 25-inch bar to put on this one. I'll have the other bars if I need them. But I think a 25-inch on this 380 would be a nice combination. It'd give me some nice power, you know, compared to the other. So let me grab this big boy. This is heavy for me. I'll be honest with you. This is a heavy saw. With that 36-inch bar. Now, if I were to get a light bar, like the Stihl, the nice light Stihl bar. It costs, I looked at them, they're gonna run about, you know, a couple $100, just under a couple $100 by the time you buy. You know, I always gotta watch them dogs right there. Let me make sure I get this right. Heat's back on, doors wide open. That's really good. I get some of that fumes out of here. I didn't want to move you guys outside. So now what's nice about this one is the adjustment is right here for loosening the bar up. This is kind of the new style. I wish that one had it, the 380. If it was a 381 clone, it would have it like that, because the new if you're looking at the Stihls, the 381 has the new caps and will have the adjustment here instead of on the, you know, here. But that's a clone, so that's the way it was. That's an older model. I guess the patent ran out, so now they can copy them. So we'll get this off of here. Now the only thing I've really done with this is cut that giant pecan log up. So I haven't used it a whole lot. I have a chainsaw mill. I have a chainsaw mill that I want to get, but I haven't decided what brand. And it's like one of them things. I want the best I can get. Cry once, and be happy you put the right money out. So, trying to find a quality chainsaw mill. I want one that has the tank on the top that you can put bar oil on, where the bar oil tube goes down. It comes out towards the end of the bar. And then I want to get the one that has the crank to help pull the saw through. So that's what I want to do with it. This one's not too bad. I say all I did was that pecan. All I did was that pecan log. So, and I don't know. I don't know if this is staying in live or not, because I say in this building is horrible for some reason when it comes to getting signal in it. So I'm going to have to start the compressor back up because I need to use the air. Just a little baby tank. So we'll let that build up for a second. I guess I should shut the door since the heat's on. But while that's running, I'll try to talk over it. When I did the adjustment on the 660, as far as tuning it in and breaking it in, it was easy to tune. I didn't have any problem after I put the 50 to 1 in it. Didn't take a whole lot of tuning, and she runs really nice. The 380 has been kind of a little bit of an issue to deal with, so I haven't really decided if I like the 380 or not yet. So we'll let that compressor do its thing. I gotta get it up. One of these days I hope to put a compressor outside. This is a baby shop. You guys probably seen I have the bigger shop. But in order to get to the bigger shop, I basically at this point would tear the yard up with all the rain. So I opted to stay down here today. That's still tight. Now I will say on this one right here, at the bottom of that has a nice flare to it. It sticks out. And I think on the FarmMac and some of the other ones, it didn't look like this came down as far. It was like this part was missing or something. And I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't own one of those, so I don't know. But just by the pictures, it looked like it didn't have this coming down. The Stihl has this, but the FarmMac didn't look like it had it. So I I always check my dogs to make sure they're not loose, and that one actually is a little loose. So that top one got a little wiggle to it, so I need to tighten that up. Of course, I have no idea where my tools are. Yeah, the nuts are captured on this side. The heads are captured inside the case. You don't need a wrench or anything on the side of it. Both of them were a little loose. They do have the nuts have the neoprene inside of it, so they won't back off. So that's pretty decent. Always keep a little teeny brush around. Nice to clean it off. I'm going to open up the filter on this one. Put that down to the bottom so you can get the cover off easier. It had a little rubber piece there. I don't know where that was pushed out of there. This is what the filter looks like. It comes on it. And it's pretty cheap. So I have a new one ordered. It has the finer mesh. It comes around here. So that should be here hopefully today. So I've got to go to my cardiologist tomorrow. So it's raining today, so I figured I'd do this. So I couldn't find my tachometer, and along with my tachometer is my little grease zert thing for the ends of the bar. Couldn't find either one of them. Who knows what building they're in? But I mean, it held the stuff out of it. When I looked down in the carburetor, there was none in there. And 380 was terrible. The filter on that one was horrible. There was a ton of stuff. Ton of debris and stuff inside the throat of the carburetor. So if you get the FarmMac 380, get a new filter for it right away. Matter of fact, if you order the saw, order a filter for it at the same time, because you'll end up messing that saw up. That means getting all that debris down in on piston is not any good. Good way to ruin a saw in a heartbeat. This one didn't get super dirty because I say I want to use it for that weekend. So this one does have, they do come with a compression brake here on the 660. So that's nice. You know what? I got my scale right over here. And since I got the bars off each one of them, let's go ahead and weigh them while we're at it. So I got a new one of these. And the new one, to be honest, you kind of looks like this, but it has the wrap that goes around it, so it has the yellow, so it's like the micro filter. As far as I know, it's about the same. I don't know that for 100%, but I think it is. This simply has the extra protections. So I'll keep this one. You know, it's good to keep these parts around. But I am curious to see how much heavier this one is than the 380, because like I said, I'm going to put the 28-inch bar. I'm going to put the 28-inch bar on this. This one. I lost my nuts. How do you like that? Because the 28-inch bar will do a lot of cutting. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, I'm cutting trees down with 20-inch bars for a long time, even these big ones. So a 28-inch bar would be sweet. So I just wanted to put that back on there to weigh it. But over here, where's my scale? let's see if it's actually it charges. So let's see if it'll work. Make sure it zeroes out. I'm curious. I really am. I want to see which one weighs. Okay. 19 pounds and 30 ounces. That's a pretty hefty little saw. So let's set this one aside and zero it out. Let's grab the head for the 380. Let's see what that weighs. I can tell it's quite a bit different. 17, 12.9. So you got 17, 12.9. See, that's how short my memory is. Come on. And 19.3. So it's almost 2 pounds difference between the two heads. So if you need big power, then get the 660. If you need enough power to probably cut down 90% of any trees you're going to have on your farm, save you a couple pounds. This has a 38-inch bar. If you don't need a 38-inch bar, go ahead and just get you a 24-inch bar, because 24-inch bar is going to cut an awful lot of trees. You put a 24-inch bar on this saw, and you're going to have a nice, powerful to chain ratio saw. And I'm going to do that. I ordered both the, I ordered a 32-inch bar from Stihl light to go on this one if I wanted it. You can put it on that one too. Like I say, if you're limiting stuff, you don't want to have to bend over as much. That'll work fine. So let's set that aside right there. So we'll take the cover back off. So like I say, I'm going to run the 28-inch bar on this in the next week or so and see how I like it with as far as power goes compared to running it on the 380, which of course this thing should, with a 28-inch bar and a 660, that thing should rock. I mean, it should eat some really good wood there. So both chains, okay, full comp chisel, okay, chains. So both of them are the same chains on both saws. But now we're going to go down to the 28-inch bar. I would be normally greasing the end of the bar, which I suggest you do at least every other time. Clean it out and grease the tip of them. If you want them to last, that's probably one of the first things that everybody burns up when the saw gets hot, is they burn the end of the bar up. Clean the grooves out. If you're in your shop doing maintenance, which is fun to do on rainy days, get you a little air compressor. That little air compressor is called a Blue Hawk. I paid $22 for it from Harbor Freight, and it has a little nailer came with it. I don't have a ton of air in there, but I did run this bar pretty hard, so I'm just curious. I mean, it's got a little bit of grit in it. You can hear it. So I will probably start that up. I'll put it together for now. But another thing that you have to watch out for, did you see that? Hear my fingernail? So this bar, even in 6 tanks, has already got a burr right here. It's not down here. It's not down here, but it's from like right here to the end. So that shows you I was digging in, doing plunge cuts. So that's wore that in. And it's really bad. And this is the upper side. The upper side is really bad. So I got to file that off there, because that's not going to let the bar go through the wood very good. It's going to catch. So I don't even know. I had a flat file hanging up in here. This is my wood shop, so I don't necessarily have the right tools in here. But before I put that on there, I need to find one. And I do have files here, just not maybe the one maybe not the perfect one, but I do have files here. So we'll improvise. We'll improvise. Here, No, that's the wrong thing. See, I think we're gonna improve. Aha! There it is. It's like, I got stuff in here now. Because I do, like I say, even the woodwork, some of the projects I do require, it's a jeweler's file, okay? It's not the right file. I have a big flat file, but it's not in here, and I didn't prepare my studio good enough. And I know I got one here. It's got a gray handle on it, but right now, there's a pile of stuff, and you don't need to see me gone for 5 minutes. But this will work just fine. It'll take that little end off. The reason I'm telling you this on this bar is this is 6 tanks in. I cut pecan, not a whole lot of pecan, but I mainly cut oak and some poplar up with it. And so it's already burned the bar up. So will these bars last? Most likely not. You're going to have to go and get, wear it out, run what you got, and try to oil it and maintain it. Or in my case, I ordered new steel bars. So you could take and run it so you can't run it, or order your steel bars, set this up, hang it up somewhere, and keep it as a backup in case something happens. So you can do that too. This bar I think is like $59 if you go to the FarmMac store, so they're cheap. They're not very good bars. So, you know, you get what you get as part of the cheap cost of the saw. These are all things, though, that you can overcome and still have a good running saw, and you can upgrade your saw. So that's probably a little much for this little file. That is, it has really burned that up a lot more wear on that bar than I would have thought would have happened in a little bit of time I ran it. But since I got new bars coming anyways, let's do this. Let's really fix it. I'm not going to cut into it, but I'm going to sit here all day with a jeweler's file trying to fix it. Yeah, that took it down right there. You don't got to be hard on it, but that's just horrible. It is amazing how fast that thing got wore out. It only takes a little bit to knock it down. It's not a whole lot. And I don't know why the top is worse than the bottom. And that's not normally how that happens. And I wasn't, doing a lot of upcutting with it. So I don't know why. Just cheap. They don't take much. Good enough for what it is. Would I do that on a light bar? No, not a $200 bar. I'd get the file. So, but that's good enough for this. For what it is, it's going to end up being a backup bar for the saw, anyways. So, now, I don't know how many of you have FarmMacs or had these saws. If you've had these saws, let me know what your thoughts are on it. Like I said, these saws are not going to be for everyday use. They're just going to be when I need a larger saw. Most of the time, these saws are going to just be when I need a larger saw just for once or twice, or take it as a backup in the woods, or take it as a backup on a job in case something happens to one of the other saws. Is what's going to end up happening to it. But I have been happy with their chains. they cut really good, and like I said, I have only sharpened this one time, and it was just a quick hand file, and I've cut 6 tanks of wood with it, and it still does just fine. So I don't have a real issue with the chain. So now this is the biggest thing that I like about Stihl. Plop. And I can just set that right on there. Come in and get that in there. Boy, that is. It's all the way back. There we go. I didn't have it all the way back. Plus, this had a different chain and bar on it. So I've got to adjust the. I've got to adjust this out. There we go. As I said, I just changed the bar from the 36 to the 28. But I like the clutch to be. I really like the inboard clutch versus the exterior board clutch. Come on. I'm not a fan of the Husky having the clutch sticking out. I have a harder time putting the bar on. It always seems like we have a harder time when the camera's rolling. Normally I put these chains and bars on like there's nothing. But that's just a even though I've been doing this for almost 2 years, I still get a little nervous or antsy or whatever you want to call it. I'm not your most eloquent host or talker. I'm just not, Most of the time in my life, I just go do my job. I don't do a lot of talking, and I just go do stuff. So for me to talk and do this stuff at the same time just doesn't come as natural to me. Some people it does. Some of the other people that have their channels, it's just a little awkward for me. I always lean the bar down and push the tip up and tighten it up that way. Now this is nice right here. I really like that. And the rain is just pouring down outside. The perfect day for doing this. I figured I'd just bring you along with me. I got to figure out, the one thing I need to do is figure out how I'm supposed to get the comments to come up. Oh, hey William, you're back up. He's from the county above near us in Spotsylvania. We're in King George. So, hey William, how you doing today, brother? Hope you're staying warm and dry because it was like 12 to 0 degrees like a week and a half ago. And then a couple of days ago, it was in the upper 70s and absolutely gorgeous outside. And of course, I was sick because of the yo-yo weather, so I was inside. So now I'm feeling better, and now it's raining and a miserable mess. And I don't want to go out and tear up the yard and drive out to another barn or the sawmill and just wreck the place. So I figured, hey, let's do some chainsaw review and maintenance. Why not, So, let's see. This one, I always use a file just to push it. Turn it around a couple times and double check this. So, They basically say you want to better put a dime between there and your guide bar. So we always taught about 1/4 to 3/8 down here. Quarter's fine. It never fails. You'll get that where you want it. You'll start it up, it'll heat up, and you'll have to readjust it the first time. It's almost every time. So I think everybody's been through that. So I hope the video is working because, like I say, I'm in this building, and it has not been friendly when it comes to doing videos. So sorry about that if it's breaking up on you and it won't keep signal. So now, hey, let's do this. Let's also weigh it with since I already took the 36-inch bar off. Let's just go ahead and get an idea what this saw weighs with a 28-inch bar on it. And I say they're saying they're pro light bars. You take that for what it is. If I can get the balance on there, hold on, it cut off. This is so forward heavy that it 23 14 ounces. So 23 pounds, 14 ounces. So pretty decent. It's got a little bit of weight to it. I'll have to look up and see what, if any of you guys know, I don't know what the 500i weighs. It's definitely several pounds less. I mean, just me lifting it, you know. A lot of times I do the old one finger lift. That kind of gives me an idea. Why are you cutting back on? So, like I said, I mean, I've run 660s for a long time when I had my landscape company. Upgraded version, just a little bit down on CCs, but with the torque, the electronic carburetor and everything, I think you're getting just as much torque and power and a much lighter saw. I mean, it has to be at least 3 pounds lighter. At least. I mean, that's just me feeling. I don't know. You guys can say whether you might have the details. Look it up while we're online. And let me know. So in my saws, just before I head out, in my saws I do run the Stihl bar oil, the synthetic. They do make one that's non-synthetic, and then I run the synthetic 50-to-1. This is for 2.5 gallon tanks. So I've been very happy with both of them. If it's not broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. Prices are compatible with every other brand. So just don't run cheap bar. Don't go to Walmart and buy cheap bar oil and then wonder why your bars are wearing out and why your chains are not lasting and your bar's smoking like a stovepipe because you're running that cheap oil. Even though this is a cheaper clone, if you maintain it properly and you do the maintenance and you run a good oil and run a good fuel oil in it, it should last you a long time. You know, it might not take the abuse like maybe a Stihl or something would if you didn't run as good a gas or whatever in it. But I wouldn't do that to any saw. So spend the extra money, get you a good quality synthetic oil. I meant to bring it in, but I'd gotten a couple bottles when I was at the Paul Bunyan show from Buck and Billy Ray, his booth. They had a biodegradable, a really nice bar oil. I wish I bought more. I just got a couple small things, but I want to run those through it and see. I probably, when I get the Pro Light bar for it, I'll start running it with that and just kind of maybe give me an idea from scratch and see how I like it. I know it doesn't make as much of a mess on your saw, and you can definitely tell that the oil's sticking on the bar more. You can feel it, and if you get some on it, the oil just doesn't run right off the bar. So that's where the synthetic oil is nice. So let me just start this really quick. I'm debating because it's kind of cool and fun, and I'm not going to run this saw all the time. I'm thinking about getting like a dual port for it, just because it'll be sounding cool. The same place that I got this, I think it's West Coast Saws, and I'll put the link on the in the description when I go back to the live, and I'll be able to add it in there. But this is nice, super nice. I mean, it's just, you know, and then you can switch directions there. But nice one. It's all stainless steel. It's not going to rust on you. But that is a game changer. Now you want to make sure you don't lose it in the woods. So, I mean, I got my little man pouch here, the tools that came with the FarmMac. So I just carry one of these. They're actually pretty tough. And then you have your Torx that comes in here, and it's got a socket drive. Let me show you the sprockets that came with it, just so you have an idea. So the sprocket that's on there right now is a 3/8 by 7, and then you can put a 404 by 7 on there. It comes with it. So if you want to run, if you have the 880 or something that runs the 404 chain, you can go ahead and run that on this one as well. And then it also comes with, and I don't know why you'd want to do it, but, well, this is still a 3/8 and 8. So, and I'm not really sure what the 3/8 and 8, what that would line up with, because the 7 seems to line up with all the 3/8. So you can leave a comment and let me know. So I don't know everything, and I'm not going to claim to be the sharpest tool on the shelf. It's definitely larger in diameter. You can see that. So, you know, it's kind of neat that it came with that. Those sprockets are a dime a dozen now. You go on Amazon and buy them pretty cheap. So they do come with little baby covers, which I guess the tip is all you got to really worry about. Is so you're not putting it in the dirt, or it's not hitting something that holds it up off the truck bed or whatever. It did come with a little tuning, a little flathead tuning. I mean, I got 2 kits. Of course, we got 2 saws, so you know, it'll be interesting. A year from now, I'll do another video on these saws, and hopefully I'll get a chance to use it quite a bit. It'll be exciting at first because it's like a new toy that you want to do, so you go out and you try to find stuff to do with it. Not necessarily that you have to. I have a 32 light bar coming from Stihl, and it's a 0.05, even though these are 0.063. It'll still fit because it's thinner, so the sprocket will work fine with it. So I mean, so far they seem to be all right. The 660 I'm more impressed with than the 380. I'm going to run out and get new plugs for both of these today. Spark plugs, get a high quality spark plug. That one, like I said, the tip of it was bent, almost touching. That explained it. Plus, that has the gas that I did the break-in with, so it's smoking. It's really hard to tune. I do have a greaser coming for the ends, which everybody should have the little grease. You can buy them in sets for greasing your bar tip. Everybody should have those. At least every other time that you may sharpen the saw, at least you should, you know, grease it. I'd say every time if you can. And sometimes people are out cutting and they just having all these little things, you lose them. So just go on Amazon and buy the ones that has from Ryan that has 2-pack. Just get a 2-pack. It's only like $15. So save you $100, a couple $100 bars, you know. So I do like that this has a compression brake. I think the F380 and the Stihl, the F381 has the compression brake. Y'all can let me know. I'll have to look it up, and I'll put it on there maybe in the information. But I was curious too, is I like the X-Cut. Some of you guys who like the Husqvarnas, and I have 2 nice Husqvarnas too. And I'm thinking about getting, FarmMac makes a Husqvarna version as well. It's the 372. You know, part of the channel is just bringing different stuff, and I don't mind having too many chainsaws because you never know, and somebody's, you might get into a situation where a big storm comes, tornadoes or something comes, and you need a bunch of chainsaws. So it's nice to have them. This is the X cut from Husqvarna, and I love these chains. And I'll tell you, when you go to hand file them, you don't notice it when you're using an electric one. You'll come along to, every once in a while, you're going to come along to a tooth that seems like hard as rock, and you can't file it. It's like, why is it so hard? I haven't had any problem of running across that with the Husqvarna chains. They all sharp and consistently smooth throughout the whole chain. The Stihls, I've had that in the Stihls. It doesn't matter just because this came on a FarmMac. With the Stihl bars, probably every other chain I've gotten, 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of the teeth just seem like the metal's hard as a rock and you can't file it. And I don't know what the deal is with it, but I've noticed it more consistent on the Stihl chains than I have the Huskies and some of the other brands. I've used the 810. You guys heard of the 810 brand? I've used their bars and chains, and they seem to be pretty decent. Matter of fact, I have 2 ripping chains coming from 810 for this saw with the 36-inch, because we're going to have that chainsaw mill, so you want to get, the right blade for that, right chain for it. But it'll be fun to take this 660 out with a 28-inch bar on it and chain, and see if I notice a whole lot of difference. I'd like to cut that pecan log with it just to see, but a 28 won't go all the way through, but I don't necessarily have to, because I could go down one side and then come down the other. But I'd be curious to see how much better this would do, because when I'm cutting those cookies, I want them to be as consistent as I can. And with the 36-inch, I noticed the bar was sticking out, about that far. So there could be a little bit of movement in there. And maybe with the shorter bar, it'll cut those slices in that pecan log better. Just have to go down one side and then come straight down. It's not that big a deal. So that'll be fun. It's sitting out there with a tarp over it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to chainsaw mill that pecan or I'm just going to make it in giant cookies, because the opportunity to get a giant tree like that, especially in a pecan, is rare. And I already milled up a ton of the other parts of it, so I got plenty of board from it. But those cookies, you imagine a nice table with a big old, 30-inch, 32-inch, actually it's a little larger than that, nice cookie, wood slice, a nice little end table or bar table or something like that. So I don't know if I want to mill it and try to have wide planks that are real thick, or whether I just don't know. Y'all let me know what you do with it. I don't know. There's so many ways you could do stuff. So, when it comes to lumber, so I like to save everything. This is that pig knot. This shows you how bright red that pig knot is. It almost looks like cedar, but it's not cedar. So I just like to cut these little oddball things I have around in my shop to look at, kind of inspiration. They're checked and they're not perfect, but a lot of people like it. Here's a piece of white oak. I know a lot of people like the white oak. This is a little wood show here. You see the ray fleck in it? I'll see if the camera will focus. I don't know if it will or not. I just like making little things like this. This is like a branch was coming up on an angle, and I cut through it with a saw. So, just fun stuff. Oh, yeah, I brought these in, too. I was going to ask your opinion on them. These are just the Savior brand. And this is just for my little, that little cheap China saw, because it's 0.58. So it only fits on that one. They had a 2-pack. They offered them to me to try out, so I figured I'd try them. So this is like that 20-inch bar, so it's nothing super special. But I like the Husky. Let me know if what you think about the difference between the Husky chains and the Stihl chains. If you've noticed any difference, or it's been an issue or not been an issue. If you guys are leaving comments, I have no clue, because it's hard to see on a phone. When you have it horizontal as well, it just doesn't show as well. So, here's a treat. For you guys who did woodwork, you might be on here because you like doing woodwork. What do you think this is? This stuff is bright, super red when you finish it. Leave in the comments. Tell me what kind of wood you think that is. I know what kind of wood it is, of course. And I sold quite a bit. These are just log halves that I'll put them on hand planer, sand them, put some oil on them, and they're just for pin turning, wood bowl turning, and stuff like that. So leave in the comments what you think those are. So we'll let the 36-inch chain and bar go hang on the shelf. We'll let the 380 head sit in the building until I get the new bar for it. So upgrades. Fuel filter inside the fuel tank. First recommended, I recommend you get a good Stihl brand. Second, upgrade air filter. Get you the air filter for your new saws. If you're getting these FarmMacs, they're cheap. Third thing, get a good bar. Save these bars as backup, unless you can't afford it. I understand. And then the fourth thing is to make sure, actually it should have been the third thing, is good air filter and a good spark plug. These spark plugs are junk. So, like I said, even on that one, the gap was like, I didn't know how the saw was running. There was barely a gap on it. So, first thing I'm going to do is go get a plug for both of these when I go to pick up my bar. And that should make a big difference. My new tuner will be in tomorrow. Probably maybe this weekend I'll do a tune on the two of them and see where they're running RPM. I'll look up the specs where these are supposed to be at. I think around 13, something like that. And see, maybe playing around and getting this supported. Get a ported front for it for the muffler, just for, why not, right? Why not? I don't even know if I can get one. I don't know if it's the same muffler or not. If I can get one for the 380, the mufflers look almost identical on, I don't know. Let's look at it real quick while we're here. I can always take the cover off and check. I don't think they are. No. No. I don't know. They got a different front, but the profile looks the same. So I just need to take the cover off, the two of them. If this cover fits on that one and that one, I'll go to West Coast chainsaws and get two double ported mufflers for it. Why not, right? So why not? And I'll make sure I get hearing protection. I know a lot of people jumped on me about that. I'm already hard of hearing, but that's another thing on my Christmas wish list is I got a nice helmet, but a nice forestry helmet. Husky makes one. I think Stihl makes one. There's a couple other brands. I think Stihl's helmet, you can get the replacement muffs for it. I have a Husqvarna one, an older one, but I can't. The ear muffs are all cracked up, and I haven't been able to find a replacement for them. So, but yeah, I mean, 6 tanks of gas has got a long ways from breaking or really testing these saws to see if they're any good, you know. So, but we'll keep running them, and we'll see what happens over time. I am curious to see what that 660 though will do with a 28-inch bar, because that thing should just rip through wood like it's nothing. That's a lot of power. So let's just, and I might even try the 25-inch bar that I'm getting for this head right here. We'll put the 25 on that too and see what it does. That thing should just mutilate the trees. Even if it's a hardwood, I don't care what it is. It should just downright mutilate it. So that's my rainy day spew. I don't know why. Let me turn this thing up. I got like a cold draft in here. Of course, this building isn't really insulated. Upstairs is insulated. I finished upstairs. It's got my little weight room up there. And there's a bar up there. It's my little play area up there. Friends come over, we hang out up there. So, yeah. And I did, like I say, these dogs didn't come on it. So if you're seeing these big old dogs on this 380, and you look on Amazon or whatever where you buy one, don't get upset. This is, oh, actually it's just a cover. It doesn't come with those. You got to order them off Amazon, and there's quite a few choices. I prefer the orange, but they didn't have the orange that would fit it. And looking at them, you know, I didn't measure, but there is a possibility that these will fit on here. sometimes when you look at the listing, they don't always cross-reference everything enough to whether, you know, well, you got to try to figure it out or not, if it does or not, yourself. But I am curious, if you guys got a little extra time, I think I'm going to take the mufflers off the two of these, the front. I want to see if it's the same one. Maybe you guys want to see if it's the same one. Because who doesn't like a ported chainsaw? Give it a little more power, you know. So let's just pop it off here real quick. Find out. Some of you may already know, you might watch me do all this work, and you already have an answer, but that's okay. Sometimes it's fun just to have a little discovery. So if I had a brazen welder or a little light duty welder, I'd probably port these myself, because I like building stuff and doing stuff. Just for the heck of it, you know. Why not, right? I mean, you got to make life fun. Because I seem like I tried to look these up, and when I looked them up to get under the ported mufflers or the pipes, I saw the 660 with the 440 and a bunch of other ones cross-referenced, but I never saw the 380 listed under the same one. So, I got to remember that short one goes on the top left. Oh, another short one. All right. That needs to be cleaned out anyway. Maybe I'll just go on Amazon and get me one of them little small light duty welders. Go to the store and buy some stainless steel pipes and do it myself. This one has got a little concern in here. This is awful hard coming out of there. I hope they didn't mess the threads up on this thing. But that is awful hard coming out of there. Wouldn't doubt it. That's the problem sometimes. Back a little bit in here. I don't like it when they come out that hard. That is not really good. So that's why I like doing it by hand and not doing it with the gun, the battery. Because man, if something's messed up and you start zapping away on it, it'll be too late by the time you realize what happened. This is hard on my shoulder. Certain things really upset my shoulder, but some things don't. And this is one of them. Hammering and undoing screws and stuff was really hard on my shoulder. All right, you ready? Let's see if it fits. No. So the answer is no, they're not the same. So just because you like watch me take a lot off, it has the exact same design, but it's probably maybe that much difference on this side. So that answers that. I'd really like to buy a set of pipes for it. If you guys know anybody that does this, maybe they'll make some. I can just buy another muffler. I can buy a muffler, pay for it, they can order it to do the work. And I'll pay for the extra. Then I'll have a stock muffler. But on these ones, the ones that they make, it just replaces the cover on it. It's not a full pipe. So, and I kind of like that better. I kind of like having the just the front, you know, the front modified with a small. I don't want I'm going to start those, and then I'm going to put a little WD on them or some silicone spray before I put them back in there all the way. Well, they're going in a lot better than they came out. So let's see, WD. Where is the WD? There it is. Oh, here, I like the lithium. Let's try the lithium. Put a little lithium spray on it. I said I didn't like the way that came out. Those came out of there at all. That's much better. Much better. Nothing like taking something apart to go to work on it and find if they cross-threaded it or something like that. And of course, if you tell them that it was cross-threaded when you took it apart, they'll just accuse you of messing it up or putting it back. They'll say, well, you touched it, you took it apart. You know, it's not going to be warranted. You ever heard that story before? I'm sure you have. And it's not like there's shops right here that are going to work on these things. They say there is, but we all know. I mean, your local shop, if they work on all different brands, they probably will. My buddy's shop is a certified Stihl dealer, but they do work on all other brands as well. So I just take it to him if something I can't do myself. So I'm going to do the same thing with these. I'm just going to spray them in there. It'll burn that out. So I would like to port both of these. Get ported mufflers for them. That would be nice. Yeah, see, these go in nice. These are fine. They're just fine. Nothing like that happening. Take out somebody's cross-threaded bolt and then you can't get it back in there, and then you got to get it warranty there. Oh, you messed it up. A good company wouldn't do that, but I'm sure this company that's not from our continent is not going to possibly treat you right. I don't know. With the recent tariffs or trade wars, I know a lot of people have freaked out a little bit and concerned about, they bought something like this, you know, and stuff didn't get worked out. If they had to get parts, it'd cost you a fortune. Or you couldn't get the parts. And that's 100% why I bought these clones versus some of the other brands, because everything that Stihl makes can go on these saws. So I'm not worried about Stihl or Husqvarna. So if you get these clones from FarmMac or Neotech, just make sure they're 100% clones, and you can just upgrade your saw as it breaks, or you know you can get parts for it. And most service centers, like I said, unless there's dedicated to one brand or the other, well, I don't know where there's a few Husky saws places around here that work on them, but they work on other saws too, so they're not going to have a problem with it. As far as I know, I guess I can't put words in other people's mouths. So that's these saws. I'll give the other Chinese saws a break. I won't be doing any more of those. That was just for fun with the cheap saws. And I have a couple friends that have some, and they love them. So if that's what you can afford, that's what you buy. So, and if it works, good for you. The Sub Mix still runs fine. It ain't got no dogs on it. But I still cut that tree down. I had any problem cutting that tree down. You have to kind of hold the saw and push it because you don't have the dogs to pivot on it. So it's like trying to eat a steak with no teeth. You know, you got to kind of work with it. So, yep. So it's that time of year where it's miserable outside. So the only thing a lot of times I can do is play around with saws and do woodworking, you know, inside. So you'll probably see more of those. I brought up 5 nice, not huge maple logs the other day that just by the cut, you probably saw that little short, just by slicing through it, the amount of ambrosia and color displayed in it, and it goes through all 4 pieces, which is they're all in line. Of course, the upper one's not as big of a heart, but those are going to be very pretty boards. Those are. But now's the time also for you guys, if you're interested in going to forestry shows. Of course, they have one in New York, and then they have the Paul Bunyan show, which we'll be going again to next year, up in Ohio. And hopefully, we're trying to work it out. We're going to have a big booth, and one of my sponsors that you guys see me display a lot of my woodworking on. If it all works out, we're going to get a booth together, and I will bring a lot of my benches and tables and a lot of my products that I've used their material on and some of my other stuff, and probably a truckload of slabs, probably maple and walnut. So I'll probably bring a bunch of those up there. If I have a bunch of big logs, which I'm going to probably be getting, I will speak with Wood Miser and see if they want to mill some of those up, and then we can they can raffle those off, and we usually donate that money to the forestry show. So I look forward to doing that next year. So or this year. So next year's gone. Last year's gone. But last year was my first time to that show, and I absolutely loved it. My wife got off and was able to go with me, so that was fun having her with me. We don't get to spend much time between the two of us going different directions, so that's nice to be able to do. But yeah, I mean, you know, if you don't have a huge budget, but you still want to have a nice saw that cut bigger stuff down and work on your homestead, so far I don't see any issue with these saws. They both seem to run pretty good. Like I say, get a new spark plug, get your upgraded air filter for it. Save up, get you a Stihl or a better bar. You know, they're gonna. I didn't hardly cut anything with that thing. It's already, the whole thing was burred up on the end. So, and I wasn't that hard on it. So, even though it says pro light, pro using that quotations really lightly, invest in a nice Stihl bar for it. If you want to get a light, get a light. If not, a nice Orion bar will be nice for it too. They're pretty good bars. Supposedly the tips on these can be replaced. I wouldn't put any money into these bars, put new tips on them or anything. I would say either get them, run them for a while, get you a new bar, hang these bars up if you go to a job or something, or something like that, and bring these as backup, keep them in your shed as backup. Because, you know, I've seen times when people get trees hung up on their bars, and then they got one saw with them. They could take the bar, you know, take the saw off the bar, but sure, it'd be nice to have another chain and bar to put on it to, you know, get yourself out of that situation. So that might be a nice option too. So, but I do appreciate everybody hanging out. I was trying to do more lives, but like I say, the signal down here is usually not that great. And I don't want to go up to the big shop or at the mill because the driveway ends, and then there's probably a couple 100 feet of grass to the shop. And with all this rain and all the frozen and the frost heave, I'd probably make 2-inch, 3-inch ruts, and there's no reason to do that. So I'm not going to go up there. Yep. So I will probably take this video, which I haven't done with the other one because the internet's been horrible, download the video, add all my stuff to it, and then put it back up as a regular video. And I can take out parts where I ramble too much or whatever. But that way it'll be a regular video instead of a live. So if you want to go back and watch it from the beginning, if you joined in later in the video, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So I got to work on my Stihls. You guys seen that long video the other day of the, go look at the live, and they're a mess. I mean, they're dirty. I got one that I keep in a container that's a backup, the 271, and it's pretty clean. But the other ones, they get used now. They get used and used and used, and they don't always get cleaned up. But I figure the oil on them is just going to protect the patina. It's just a good covering, you know, it keeps it from rusting. So no excuse. I need to clean them up, I know. So there's that. I love my heater going. I said a few little leaks in this building, but 30,000 BTU and a 12 by 24 building has plenty of heat. Not going to be an issue. So, but anyways, I was back to the forestry show. You want to get signed up now if you want to get tickets and stuff, because they sell out pretty quick. This year was awesome. I mean, we drove, of course, from here, Virginia. We're right off of 301 where it goes into Maryland. So it was about a 7-hour drive. So, but it was worth it, you know. We had a blast up there. So if you're into this kind of thing and you want to go, I know Buck and Billy Ray will be there. He was there. I mean, he's there all the time. Freaking Jeep John and some of the other guys are there. Some of the other YouTube channels are there. And maybe we'll do more of a meet and greet or something. I don't know. I'll just mention it to them. Maybe we'll do something. I did have a nice big sign made for one of the buildings. They told me I could have used last year, but just I didn't get it organized in time. But like I say, when I go back up, I'm hoping to bring a bunch of products with me, and then I'm going to bring up some logs if I can get another truck or somebody to drive the other truck. Then I got to pay for them to stay at night and go in the fair and all that stuff. So, but that'd be fun to do. It'd be fun. It's a fun event. So, and I know my wife wants to go because they sell knives and cool wood craft. Like this one guy did bowl turn and had like lighthouses and stuff like that, and t-shirts. So my wife, I got to bring an extra grand just for her to go shopping. There goes my budget for me. But, you know, she didn't think she'd like it, but when she went, I couldn't find her half the time. She was off shopping everywhere. So she had a great time. So if you're worried about if your wife would like to go or not, probably they will. You know, just make sure you take them out to dinner once or twice while you're there every night or something. You know, you get the idea. Yeah, and my wife is a big book reader and a reader. She'll sit in the truck or car or whatever and sit there and read for hours when I'm doing stuff. I'm going in to go get a stress test tomorrow, and they're doing the nuclear thing. They said 4 to 5 hours. I said, you better bring your tablet or some books because you're going to be waiting for a while. So she's like, okay. So I don't know how she does it. I can't sit still for that long and read a book for 3 or 4 hours, but she can. She loves it. So anyway, let me switch my glasses back over. So these are my larger view glasses so I can see. But yeah, it was nice to kind of look into them a little bit to see what was going on. I don't think the 30. Let me take a peek because I didn't even pull the cover off. Let's check real quick. I'm curious if it burned the end of it up. No, this bar seems to be fine. And I was cutting through that pretty heavy pecan log, and it doesn't seem to have burned it up like it did that 28-inch bar. And like I say, I didn't even cut that hard of stuff with it, so I was surprised. I was surprised to see the end of that bar burned up like it was, having to file it for cutting such light wood and stuff I cut with it. I didn't cut any trees down with either one of them yet. I've cut up a bunch of logs, but I haven't cut any trees up. So we'll see. Time will tell. Anyways, thanks for watching. It's already been like an hour and a half, so I think that's plenty long enough. See you later.